Okay, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Mystic's Table. Today we will be doing session 2 of my Ironsworn campaign, solo Ironsworn campaign. And I think we're just going to go ahead and hop right into it. So let's just do a quick recap. All of our tracks are health, spirit, and supply are all +5. None of them took a hit last session. Our momentum is at +6. We were able to make a few rolls, a few moves last session, and that got our momentum up. I think +6 is pretty good. And let's see, we left off with a vow to protect the people of Grimbrook from the sickness or destruction or whatever it is we think is going to happen in a day. And just to get a good, I think, narrative setting framing in mind, so we started last session off in the morning. It was in the morning of Grimbrook. The sun was rising. We did some investigation. We went and saw that lady's husband, and was basically able to confirm that this sickness that he had is something that we have seen in our life before, back in our childhood. And we went back to Overseer Kanara and reported that to her and told her that, maybe it's a good idea to try to get people out of Grimbrook. And I would say all of that probably took maybe a few hours. So I would say, in terms of time, I feel like that puts us at about noon, midday ish kind of thing. I would say the sun is probably at its peak or around there. So the time, it's ticking. So we better, hurry up and make some stuff happen. Okay, so we have that vow. We did have 2 progress marked on the vow, so that's 2 out of 10 boxes. That's pretty good. And if I remember correctly, last session we said 1/3 of Grimbrook is, preparing to leave. They're getting their bags. They're ready to go, like bounce and get out there. And I imagine it's going to be Overseer Kanara that's leading them out. And then there's about 1/3 of Grimbrook, another 1/3 of Grimbrook that is pretty stouch, however you say that, followers of Eli the Dissenter. And so they don't want to leave. That's interesting. I think we need. Okay, that's interesting. We know that they don't want to leave, right? Okay, and then the last third, those are the people that are on the fence. And I imagine those people are on the fence for a variety of reasons. Perhaps, those are the people who have, loved ones, perhaps an elderly father or mother or a child or some sort that is sick right now, and really can't pack up and move, like they're bedridden. If we remember the sickness, it gives them trembles. They are completely bedridden. Their eyes are going crazy behind their eyelids. They're sweating very profusely, and they're muttering some tongue. Has no idea what it is. So they can't wake up and move. So I imagine that the people who are on the fence are probably the people with those loved ones, and they don't want to leave them, of course. Okay. So that's everybody accounted for. Okay, so I guess we need to come up with a plan. So what I was going to mention earlier is I kind of want Albrun to go to this Li character and maybe find out the reason why they don't want to leave. I think that's a pretty good starting spot, because I imagine that if we can get the third of Eli's group to agree with Kinara, Overseer Kinara, and get out of Grimbrook, I imagine those people who are on the fence can probably go as well. I imagine they wouldn't want to be left, because there's no fence to straddle at that point. So I think that should be the plan. And so, okay, so Overseer Kanara, she just finished up her speech to the town. She had gathered everyone together, and basically had told them, this stranger has, he recognizes this sickness. This is really bad. He has good reason to believe that something horrible is about to happen within a day, and we need to evacuate the settlement. We need to go. And so that set all of that stuff into motion. And so now I would say the settlement of Grimbrook, it's quite lively. It hasn't been this lively in a while. It's the most lively Albrun has seen it. He's just been here for like one night in a half of a day. But I would say there are Ironlanders, there are common folk just kind of running in and out of houses, kind of putting up on their back as much as they can carry. You see women with their children with them. You see men getting their meager farming supplies and such. And, maybe even one or two people in the settlement actually own like a mule and a cart and is, piling up as much as they can. Um, Now, the thing is, I wouldn't say they're piling up everything because who knows if this sickness or cataclysmic event that we think is going to happen doesn't happen, these people will be coming back into uh, Grimbrook within a day. So people are taking what they need and are anticipating the worst, but also kind of hopeful that, maybe this is a false alarm. Who knows? Okay, so while all this is like going around kind of chaotic, I would say Albrun makes his way throughout the village and he gets kind of closer to the center where the longhouse is, and he actually sees Eli, um, maybe with a crowd. Yeah, with a crowd. Eli is there with a crowd. These are his followers. These are the people who don't necessarily 100% support Kinara. Um, I guess we should get into details with that. I don't feel like this is like a huge like political rift. Like I don't feel like it's like a civil war or anything like that. I just feel like Eli probably disagrees with Kanara on a lot of things. There isn't, and you know what we did? I think we did mention last session that there was like a sort of like council kind of thing with Kanara. So I would say Eli is probably a member of this council. I would say this council is probably elected positions. So even though he disagrees a lot with Kanara, um, she can't really keep him off the council. Like it's an elected thing, and he has followers. So I imagine that he is there in front of this crowd, kind of telling them. And you know what? Actually, this might be a little crazy, but I think I want to try to roll. Um, what was it? I think maybe action and theme, or maybe just theme. Let's see. Yeah, I think I might want to roll. Okay, yes, I think I want to roll the theme oracle just to try to. You know what? We're gonna roll the theme oracle and the character goal oracle, and we're gonna kind of. I think we'll take whatever result, um, whichever result makes more sense. Or maybe we'll combine them if they both make sense. We'll just see. But I kind of want to get an idea of why is Eli so reluctant to leave? Because you would think, if this stranger who is clearly a mystic, silver eyes, clearly has some magical, mystical thing going on with him and is telling you, like, hey, this pillar that you're built next to that has all these warding effects, might have a very bad thing incoming, some magical disaster incoming. I feel like most people would be receptive to that. And we know we've already established within the fiction that for some reason Eli is a dissenter. So we know that he dissents, but we don't know why. So I want to go ahead and try to roll. We're going to roll theme. You know what? We're going to roll action, theme, and character goal. That's what we'll do. And we'll just see what that gives us. So for action, we have 96. Communicate. Okay, communicate. And then theme, 82. Enemy. Ooh, communicate enemy. And he wants to stay. Okay, communicate enemy. That's interesting. Okay, and let me just roll character goal just to kind of round it out and see what we gotta work with. Okay, that's 12. Undermine a relationship. Communicate, enemy, undermine relationship. Huh. Communicate, enemy, undermine relationship. Okay. Okay. We don't need to piece the story all the way together right now. That's definitely something interesting. And you know what? I'm actually just going to go ahead and take a quick note of that because I think that's something that could definitely come up later for sure. Okay, so I definitely think there's something sneaky going on with this Li character. He's definitely not good. He's definitely up to something. I almost imagine there might be some sort of coup or something going on. This is kind of crazy. Okay, so obviously Albrun doesn't know anything that we just rolled, but that's definitely something to keep in mind. So yeah, Albrun has located Li, and Li is kind of preaching to his followers almost like, we will stay within the walls. The walls are safe. This stranger has no idea what he's talking about. He hasn't lived amongst us. He hasn't seen the protection this pillar has provided us for all these years. He has no idea what he's talking about. Everyone remain calm, and we are the ones that will stay strong. We will stay strong in our home. And that's kind of, rilling the crowd up. Everyone's like, yes, yes, this is our home. We're not leaving. Okay. And so I think Albrun is just kind of hang back a little bit, kind of wait for Li to go through go through the motions and all that. And eventually Li is going to, step down from whatever like podium log thing that he's standing on that he was using to address the crowd, and he's gonna kind of be talking to like one or two of his like closer followers that he trusts more. And I think that's when Albrun is gonna kind of try to insert himself into that conversation. Okay, so now we're gonna walk up to Li, and we're gonna kind of clear our throats. And he's gonna turn. He's like, "Oh, you," he doesn't like us. And Albrun is going to say, or going to ask, why don't you want to leave? This is a very serious threat. The Grimbrook is in danger, lethal danger. And then Li is going to be like, how could you possibly know that? I see what you are. I see those evil eyes you have. But your skin is bare. You don't have a single tattoo. I doubt you have any expertise in what it is you claim to know of. Okay, and I think that's actually, I feel like that dig is gonna kind of actually get into Albrun a little bit, and he's gonna maybe take a hit to the confidence, but he's still gonna say, I may not be marked like the elder mystics are. It's true, I'm not formally trained in these matters, but there are things that not only can I see and feel, but things I know. I experienced this. My entire town was wiped out from one of these pillars right after we had this sickness run rampant through our settlement. I may not know for sure, but it's so much better to be prepared instead of hoping for the best. You can lead your people out of here just for a day. And that's better than hoping that what I predict won't come to pass. Okay, and to me, that sounds like a compel. It does. And we didn't lie at all in there, usually. I think for the most part, our trick is, our MO is probably going to be lies, but we didn't lie. I mean, we just kind of tried to tell him the truth there and reason with him So I almost feel like that is a compel plus heart. Let's see, let me just get my compel move here. Okay, so I feel like that. Okay, so charm, pacify, barter, or convince, roll plus heart. Threaten or incite, roll plus iron, lie or swindle plus shadow. So we didn't lie, we didn't swindle, we definitely didn't threaten or incite. So this is definitely a plus heart roll. Okay, so yeah, this is plus heart. And we have plus 2 heart, and we don't have any bonuses at all. Okay, so let's see what happens. Oh, okay, so that's a 2 on the action die. Plus 2 is 4 versus a 4 and a 1. Okay, so that's a weak hit. So we attempted to compel him through reasoning and logic. You know, we shared our... Okay, so on a weak hit, they'll do what you want or share what they know. Take plus 1 momentum. Okay, so we're at plus 7. But they ask for something in return. Okay, so he's willing to lead his people out of Grimbrook. That was kind of a quick turn. He seemed kind of fired up, I felt like. But he's willing to let them leave as long as we do something in return. So what could he possibly want? So this says, ask the Oracle if unsure. I'm feeling pretty unsure. So, you know what? Before I roll on an Oracle, we did roll earlier about what his intentions are, why he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave because he wanted to communicate, enemy, undermine, relationship. Something to do with those. So perhaps us having this heart to heart with him, and he can kind of see it in our eyes and see it in our face that we aren't lying, and that, you know, Albrun is being very genuine about the fear he has for this pillar and what it may do within a day or less than a day at this point. And I think that is what convinces Eli that, you know what, this dude, you know, maybe he's not an expert, but he's speaking from experience. And so, as much as I would like to undermine Karina, I can't let all of my followers perish if this is for real. So we do need to go. But, you know what? Okay, so he wants to communicate, enemy, undermine, relationship. This is feeling like a coup to me. It feels like to me he has a third of the entire settlement at his beck and call. You know, he has people that are willing to speak out with him. He's a part of the council, and he basically has pretty much this entire 2 sessions so far has undermined Karina in almost every step of action she has tried to take. So I think I'm going to go with the coup. I feel like that's what it's giving me is coup. So I think what he's going to ask in return is, I think he's going to want to perhaps get some sort of information, some sort of leverage over Karina. Right? Get some sort of leverage over Karina that can perhaps help him cement a claim to the Iron Circlet. Maybe I think he wants the overseership for himself. I think that's where this is taking us. Okay, so he's gonna level with Albrun. Okay. Young mystic, I see the fire in your eyes. I see what you're saying. I will lead my people out of here. For one day, only one day. But in return, I need you to go into the longhouse and find me something. Find me something that will prove to the people of Grimbrook that Karina is not who she says she is. I have always you see, she wasn't born here. She is not truly one of us. She came much like you in the dead of night years ago, and wormed her way into the council and managed to get her claws on the Iron Circlet. But she is not the rightful ruler of Grimbrook, and I want her gone. You will do this for me. Okay? And so Albrun doesn't really have much of a choice, because I feel like even though he kind of has a better rapport with Karina, I feel like honestly the vow that he took, shoot, I forgot to put on my little prop, my little iron necklace. The vow that he took is something, again, we mentioned it last session. These vows are very serious business for those that are Ironsworn. And so I know it may seem a little strange, but I definitely feel like Albrun is right now is prioritizing getting as many people out of Grimbrook as possible, because that was the nature of the vow he took, versus having some sort of loyalty to Karina. And to be honest, we only known Karina for what, a couple of hours. We may like her, but vows are more important. So Albrun, he's gonna look at Eli, and he's gonna see the snake that Eli is, and Albrun himself isn't too far from being a snake either. So I think Albrun is gonna nod his head in silence. Eli is gonna take that as an agreement. There's no need to swear a vow here. I don't think it makes sense narratively. But so Eli is gonna go ahead and actually get back up on that podium, and he's gonna backtrack, and he's gonna be like, "Okay, guys, actually, we need to go. Something's about to happen. We gotta get out of here, and we will be the first to return if what this stranger says is lies. But let's go." Okay. So actually, I feel like us even just rolling that weak hit on the compel and convincing him to take his third of Grimbrook out with the third that Karina's already leading is progress. So this was a dangerous vow. So that's 2 boxes per progress. So we are at 4 boxes now. 4 out of 10. Okay, so it sounds like to me we need to go figure out what this last third of Grimbrook people who are on the fence. So how are we going to approach this? Because in my head, I was thinking that, I didn't think we were going to be able to convince Eli to leave, but we did. And so to me, these people on the fence, it's an interesting thing, because is there even a fence to be on anymore? You know what I mean? Like, the fence was between, do you go with Karina and leave or stay with Eli? But now both of them are leaving. So what's the incentive to stay? I know I said earlier, a lot of the people have these sick ones that can't move. You know what? So I guess that's what it is. Sounds like to me we might need to convince this last third of people. Do we convince them to leave their sick ones? I mean, can't we get some of these other people to help? I'm sure there's plenty of able-bodied people that can help. There's not a lot of horses. We did say that only about 2 people in the entire village even have mules and carts. So these sick people would have to be carried out. And we said that there was quite a lot of people sick. So that's a lot of manual labor. Okay, honestly, I don't even think I want to roll a compel, because to me it doesn't make a lot of narrative sense. People think that their doom is impeding within a couple of hours, right? Within the next day. They want to leave. They are already bogged down by all the stuff they're carrying, and they want to go. And so I doubt there's really anybody that can spare the muscle to move that many people. So I don't think this is even an opportunity for compel. Um, there's really just no leverage to compel there. People want to go and people are going to go. People are actually leaving right now. Li has gotten most of his followers. They're kind of like sheep. He changes the tune of the song, they dance. So they're leaving despite how adamant they were about staying just a few minutes ago. Karina's already kind of ushering people out as well. I think they're actually heading west towards the deep wilds. They're not going to go into the deep wilds, but I think they're going to try to like maybe hang out on the tree line, set up some lean-tos, that kind of thing, just for the day and night. So I guess it's kind of up to us. Is there a way for us to get everyone together? Or we're going to have to go to house trying to convince people to go and leave their loved ones. I think that's really the only option. I'm trying to think. I don't feel like it's going to be very efficient, trying to go house to every single sick person to do this. Is there a way to call another town meeting? How can we approach this? Okay, hold on. Let's just remind ourselves, what was the vow? The vow was protect the people of Grimbrook from the sickness/destruction. And we have 4 progress boxes. So we already got 2/3 of the town to evacuate. To be honest, I don't even know. I don't think I even want to try to go house to house convincing people and rolling compel after compel after compel, trying to get people to leave their loved ones. I think at this point, Li feels like he's done the best he personally can do. Because at this point, again, he's been in Grimbrook for less than 2 days. Honestly, even less than a day. He was here for like the duration of the night and then the morning/noon. So he hasn't even been here for a day. He's not going to be able to convince these people to leave their loved ones. Like, that's just not going to happen. So I think he feels like he has personally done what he can do. And if there is anyone else to convince, it's Karina and Li. And you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get Karina and Li together. Get them together real quick. And we're going to go ahead and tell them the game plan. Overseer Karina, I have convinced Li to convince the people that trust him to go with you. And Karina's going to nod her head. This is good news, because even though these people may trust Li more than her and maybe Li's followers, they're still her people, and she does still care about her people, no matter if she has their support or not. So she wanted them to live, obviously. And so she's going to say, well, what about the rest? And I think Albrun at that point, he's just going to kind of like put his hands up. He's like, I don't know these people. I have no way to convince them. I know I took my vow, but to me, this seems like something you and Li could accomplish, of convincing these people that they have to leave their loved ones. But what I will promise you here, in fulfillment to my vow, I will go investigate this pillar and see if there is any information I can gain to perhaps thwart what it is I fear is coming. And maybe the people who stay behind here will be safe. Okay, I think that's pretty good. That definitely gives us something to work with for sure. And I think both of them, are kind of like, okay, yeah. And so they're going to work on trying to get these last third of people out. They kind of have the rest of the day and night to try to do that. They just need to make it to the tree line, which is a ways off. I would say it's maybe like an hour's journey west to get out of the blast radius of this pillar. So they have some time to try to convince these people. So now we have to decide. So we did kind of make that pseudo promise to Li about getting into the longhouse and trying to find some information on Karina's background and trying to figure out, apparently no one knows where she's from. She just showed up one day and has kind of engraved herself into the settlement. and has kind of risen up in the ranks. To be honest, I think Albrun is definitely going to prioritize this vow over that little side promise. We didn't really have a time frame on that side promise. Um, well, you know what? I also feel like though, since it was a weak hit on the compel, and the weak hit of the compel is that the person asks something of you, I don't feel like this is something that we should be able to put on the back burner in terms of like, I don't know, just from like a metagaming perspective. You know, the weak hit, that's like the punishment of a weak hit, is that you kind of have to do this side quest now. So you know what? I think even though I want to just go ahead and take a journey and get to the pillar and go gather some information, I think that we need to investigate the longhouse before we leave Grimbrook, um, and report what we can find to Li. Um, and unfortunately, that's a consequence. We are on a time clock. I would say at this point we're definitely afternoon, and evening is approaching. So we want to take that journey and try to get to that pillar, I would say, before nightfall. So we kind of want to hurry up. So, yeah. So I think we're going to go ahead and, while this chaos of evacuation is happening and people are trickling out, and, Kinara is, she's going house to house trying to convince people, and kind of so is Li and his followers, kind of trying to tell them, um, we can't bring everyone, unfortunately. I know you want to stay with your loved ones, but whatever is coming, and it's just best for you to try to escape. And we have this mystic man trying to figure out and stop whatever might be coming. Okay, so they're working on that. And so we're going to get to this longhouse, and to be honest, yeah, we're going to roll Face Danger. We're going to roll Face Danger plus Shadow, because we are going to try to sneak into this longhouse. And not even like in a stealthy way. I think we're literally, we just have our hood on. Things are kind of chaotic. We're just going to try to slip in when no one's looking. But I think that is a Face Danger plus Shadow. That's what it sounds like to me. So let's see. Let me just get my little Lodestar reference guide. Make sure I know what I'm doing. Okay, Face Danger. When you attempt something risky or react to an imminent threat, envision your action and roll. And I definitely feel like that's with deception, stealth, or trickery, roll plus shadow. So that sounds like to me Face Danger plus shadow. Okay, and our shadow is +3. Okay. Oh. Okay, so that's a 4 plus 3. That's a 7. That's a strong hit with a match versus 2 5s. So strong hit with a match. Okay. That wasn't really a critical narrative point, so I don't think we need to go too crazy. But we basically, hold on. Let me actually read this. On a strong hit, you are successful. Take +1 momentum, so we're at +8 momentum now. Cool. Okay, and we just make it. So that's with a match, but to be honest, I don't think I'm going to do anything with that match. We just make it in. So we get into the longhouse. No one sees us. No one even notices us kind of slip in. Things are just so chaotic. You know what? I will say for the match, all the guards are gone. So there are no guards like patrolling the longhouse inside of it. They're all too busy packing up their own stuff, moving their own families, and helping other people. So that's what the match is going to be, is that we made it into the longhouse, no one saw us, and no one's in here. Okay, so we're in the longhouse, so we're going to kind of explore and snake our way through. And I think it should be rather easy to locate Kanara's quarters. It's a longhouse, it's not like it's a maze. So we kind of find her room, and we just kind of get in there. And this to me sounds like a gather information roll, right? So that's gather information. When you search an area, ask questions, or conduct an investigation, or follow a track, roll plus wits. Okay. So I think this is a gather information to just see what it is we're going to find in Kanara's quarters. That's where we are. I guess I should describe it. So like I said in last session, this longhouse, it's made out of like spruce wood, nice brown scorched finish. It's a very nice place. It kind of almost looks out of place in the town of Grimbrook, with all the other houses being out of like clay and not cheap wood, but not really that nice like craftsmanship that comes with like like varnishing the wood and stuff. So this place is pretty nice. She has a nice bed, maybe some quilts and pelts hung up and used as rugs and such from various hunts that she's gone over the years. Perhaps there's even some stuff from past overseers, like pelts and such. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and gather information and see what happens. Okay, so that's oh, that's a 6 on the action die. +2 is an 8 versus a 4 and a 0. So strong hit on gather information. On a strong hit, you discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow or action you must take to make progress is made clear. Envision what you learn. And take +2 momentum. So at this point, we're at 10 momentum. Maximum momentum. So that's definitely good to keep in mind. We'll definitely keep that in our back pocket. As for the information, so this strong hit, it says the information you discover is very direct and very clear. So I am going to go ahead and roll on the Oracle. I think I am going to go ahead and roll on the Oracle just to kind of see what the information is we find. So I think we're going to do action and theme and just kind of see, just see where that takes us, I think. 74. Hide. Okay, that makes sense. She's hiding something. Okay. Wonder what she's hiding. 15. Secret. Hide secret. Okay. That's not a very helpful oracle. Okay, so she has a secret. Okay. I'm gonna roll action and theme again, just to try to get something more off of that. 33. So hide secret. 33 is aid. Okay, maybe she's trying to help something, and for some reason she needs to hide that. 93. Law. So she's hiding something to do with law, and it's a secret. You know what? Okay, so Albrun is kind of like snooping through things. There's a nice chest at the bottom of the bed, at the foot of the bed, and he opens it up. He's kind of looking around because he's sneaking. He doesn't want to get caught, and through his kind of rummaging, he kind of feels something loose at the bottom of the chest, and he realizes there's a false panel down there. It's just a little cut block of wood. It looks completely normal, but he can feel it jiggling. So he kind of takes whatever stuff is in the chest, takes that panel out, and it turns out there is a journal. There's a small journal, tattered. It's definitely old, and it's down there in the panel. And he takes it out and he opens it, and his eyes kind of widen because he sees this journal and quickly realizes that this journal belonged to the previous overseer before Kanara. And I think I am actually just going to go ahead and try to get a name real quick, just so that we have a name for this dude, or woman, whoever the overseer was. 66. Nadira. So Overseer Nadira was the previous overseer. And in this journal, she's actually describing, it's her last entry. We just kind of flipped all the way back there, and she's describing this woman who has come to Grimbrook quite a little strange, if you will. And she is... how are we going to do this? Secret law. I'm going to say that young Kinara came to this overseer Nadira and evoked the law of challenge. And so she actually challenged Nadira with, not many witnesses, only like one captain of the guard or whatever to witness, challenged her for the Iron Circlet, claiming that she was actually related. She was related to Nadira. Maybe not directly. Maybe they shared some cousin or grandmother, something like that. But she claimed that she had a claim to the Iron Circlet, and she was here to evoke her claim through combat. And so they had, that's what this journal is kind of hinting at. And, in the journal, this overseer Nadira is like, okay, obviously I can't deny the challenge. I can't back out of it. I have to do this now. And so that was the last entry, and it can be kind of assumed contextually that Nadira lost because Karina is now the current overseer, and Nadira is nowhere to be seen. So, and I imagine that Karina has probably kept this journal for this long. Or does Karina know about the journal? You know what? Let's ask the Oracle. Does Karina actually even know about this journal? Does she keep it on purpose, or did Nadira hide this journal herself? So, what are the odds that Karina would know about this journal and keep it? Because the line of thinking that I was just about to go down is that I can imagine that Karina would actually keep this journal because it shows it's definitive proof of her claim to the Iron Circlet. If anyone were to ever discover the truth and say that she's illegitimate, she has claimed that she got the circlet through combat as permitted by law. But no. Actually, I don't really like that, because if I remember correctly, when we rolled the Oracle, we said that this was supposed to be a secret. This is something that Karina has been hiding. So actually, I would imagine that maybe this combat thing is it's the old ways. It's the old ways, maybe of even the old world, and a lot of Ironlanders don't really respect that claim anymore. And so she did the claim, and perhaps Nadara also believed in that claim, and that's why she accepted the combat. But most of the people of Grimbrook would think that Karina is an illegitimate ruler, an illegitimate overseer for claiming the circlet in that way. And perhaps they just thought that Nadira had died of some sickness or had left or something like that. And so that's why Karina has been keeping a secret. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense to me. Okay, so you know what? I'm not even going to ask the Oracle about the odds, because I think, well, no, let's still ask. So how likely is it that Karina knows about this journal? It was in a false panel under this chest. What's the chances in that she would keep the journal? No, because I feel like if she knew about the journal, would she not get rid of it? Right? Okay, so you know what? I'm going to say it's a small chance. It's a small chance that she knows about this journal. So if we roll a 91 or higher, she knows about the journal. Anything less than that, she didn't know about the journal, and it was just really well hidden, and she just never really looked. 74. Okay, yeah. So she didn't know about this journal. This was literally just there. It's just been there for years. Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and get this journal. We're going to put it in our little cloak, and we're going to make our way out. We're going to kind of, peek our head out of the longhouse, make sure no one's looking, and we're just going to kind of slip out. And I think we're actually going to go ahead and go find Eli. And, to reflect the mechanical consequence of that weak hit that we rolled with the compel earlier that put us on this entire side mission, I'm going to go ahead and say that the time at this point has advanced probably a couple of hours. So I would say that it's not quite evening, like it's not sundown yet, but the sun is definitely at an angle at this point. So it's definitely nowhere even close to the peak anymore. It's on its way down. It's on its way setting. So we're running out of time. And so we're going to go ahead and find Eli. We're going to get him by himself. I'm going to say, I think I found something that should suit your needs. And Eli's going to, well, what is it? Show me. And so Albrun takes this tattered journal out of his cloak and hands it to Eli and kind of flips to the last entry for him. And Eli is like scanning it, and then he's realizing he's putting two and two together, and he realizes that's what happened to the overseer Nadira, who he may have even known. Maybe she was a good friend. And so he realizes that that's where she went. It was a mystery this entire time where she went. No one really knew. And Overseer Karina, she had actually... So she had made her way into the council before this. She had made herself a very useful asset to Grimbrook. And so with Nadira's disappearance and Karina's she claims that she was somewhat related to Nadira, and all of her helpfulness and stuff, everyone was pretty much ready to accept her as the new overseer, and Eli didn't stand a chance at getting the overseership himself in those circumstances. And so his eyes kind of widen, as he's reading this entry, and he's like, this may be enough to delegitimize Karina and show her for the fraud she is. And so Eli is like, he doesn't say thank you. I don't think it's in his blood to say thank you to a Skuldborn, but he kind of nods at he nods at Albrun. Albrun's not very happy about having to get involved in the politics of Grimbrook. That's not why he came here. And he kind of liked Karina, I feel like. So this isn't a celebratory thing for him. But he hands the journal. He lets Eli keep the journal. He nods, and he's on his way. So he actually kind of just slips out with everyone else who's kind of, making their way out of the walled settlement of Grimbrook. And he's gonna actually kind of walk around the wall so that he's on the east side so that he can head east where the pillar is. So remember, we are in the Haven, so there's lots of hills. The grass, is up to our shins, in some spots up to our knees. There's a river, that kind of runs, and I will even say that river runs in the direction of the pillar, so we're probably going to follow this river. And near the river, like the shore of the river, it's like rocks. It's not sand, it's rocks. There's like big rock outcroppings by the river, and there are like pine tree glades kind of in the distance. And remember what we said, the sun, it's not quite setting yet, but it's on the way to do so. So that's kind of the setting that we're in right now. I would say the sky is probably almost a grayish. Yeah, I would say the sky is actually almost a grayish. And actually, I would say that if you look in the distance, you can actually see some really dark clouds starting to actually gather around the pillar, like gather above the pillar. And it actually doesn't look like a natural cloud formation at all. And it kind of looks like it's going to rain, but it doesn't feel or smell like it's going to rain. So there's some spooky atmosphere stuff going on right now. And so I feel like that kind of fits the vibe. So Albrun is done with this politics. He's leaving. He's not even gonna go talk to Karina. He's gonna let this pan out on its own. It's none of his business. And is this a milestone? I don't feel like that side mission had anything to do with protecting the people of Grimbrook. That was just something that we had to do, and it costed us time. So I don't feel like that in and of itself is a milestone. But we can finally undertake this journey. No, we haven't reached a milestone. In fact, I would say since that side quest was a consequence of a weak hit on a compel, it doesn't make sense for that to be a milestone, if that makes sense. Weak hits are, supposed to be punishing. So we're just going to kind of go with that. So that was more of a delay than it was a waypoint. Okay, so I think it's time to undertake a journey. That's what it sounds like to me. We finally can just head towards this pillar in the hopes of trying to gather some information. So we're going to undertake our first journey of the campaign. Okay, so when you travel across hazardous or unfamiliar lands, set the rank of your journey. So if I remember correctly, I was reading through the thing that kind of tells you how you should rank things. And since this iron pillar is within eyesight and we aren't traveling across regions of the Iron Lands, this definitely sounds like a troublesome journey to me. I don't think this would be a dangerous journey. We're not even like cutting through a forest or anything. So this to me sounds like troublesome journey. Okay, so a troublesome journey is 3 boxes per progress. So it's actually supposed to be pretty quick. As long as you don't get like really bad rolls and keep getting delayed, but it's not that hard to complete a troublesome journey. Okay, so let's just roll. Let's see what happens. And when you roll undertake a journey, I'm pretty sure you roll plus wits. Yeah, you roll plus wits. Okay, let's just go for it. So that's a 3 and 8 versus, okay, a 3 on the action die plus 2 is 5 versus a 3 and 8. So that's a weak hit. On a weak hit, you reach a waypoint and mark progress but suffer 1 supply. So let's go ahead and get our supply down to 4. We're going to mark progress. So that gets us 3 boxes, 3 out of 10. And so we reach a waypoint. So we're supposed to envision a waypoint. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I'm going to be completely truthful. I am really bad at improving, like setting in location. It's one of my weakest things ever. And like I said last session, or I guess in session 0, this is my first time playing a tabletop. And it's also kind of my first time on camera. So you're going to have to bear with me with this waypoint stuff. I know that there's a table, right? I know that there's some sort of table that, allows you to roll for location. Some of these locations don't really make sense in the havens, but I think we'll just roll and, see what we get. I feel like that'll just help me a lot with waypoints. So 58. Village, I don't feel like that makes sense. Like there's really not many villages around here. So we're gonna actually reverse that 58 into an 85 and see what that gets us. A hill. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. We're in the havens. Okay, so we undertake a journey. So we're leaving Grimbrook, and I think we're actually gonna follow the river towards this iron pillar that's in the distance with these clouds kind of like swirling around it like a nexus, right? And so we're just kind of following this river, and I would say we even kind of reach into our little pack. No, that doesn't make sense. It's not even nighttime yet. Let me run that back. I'm gonna say that -1 supply is kind of reflected on us kind of eating some of our food supplies that we have. We weren't able to stock up. Yep, okay. that makes more sense to me. So we were not able to stock up on supplies before leaving Grimbrook. Everyone is bringing everything they have with them. They didn't even have much food to begin with. So we have to dig into our own rations because, again, we really haven't eaten since last night. Because we got arrested this morning with the guards people with the spears, that brought us to the longhouse and, had the crazy inquisition. So we're kind of starving. So we're eating some of our own provisions. That's why we're losing supply. And we're making our way, just kind of following the river, and we get over this like rather large hill. The river kind of cuts right through the hill, but it's a little too steep for us to follow the river at that point, so we have to get over the hill ourselves. And so this is a pretty tall hill, and I feel like we can actually kind of look around, like it's almost kind of like a little bit of a valley surrounding the hill, and we can kind of just see the grasslands and see the pine trees up front, and maybe even there could be a glade in front of us. I don't know. Okay, so that's our waypoint. We're gonna go ahead and roll again. Undertake a journey plus wits, plus 2 wits. Okay, so that is a 3 on the action die, plus 2 is a 5, versus a 2. Is that a 3? Yeah, 2 and a 3, so that's a strong hit. Okay. This is really not that hard of a journey. So we are at 6 boxes, 6 out of 10. Honestly, if we can just get one more strong hit or weak hit, I'm going to go ahead and try to reach the destination. Okay, so wait, was that a weak hit or a strong hit? That was a strong hit. On a strong hit, you reach a waypoint. If the waypoint is unknown to you, envision it, then choose one. You make good use of your resources, mark progress. You move at speed, mark progress, take +1 momentum, and suffer 1 supply. So we are at maximum momentum, so we don't need to take that momentum. So we're just going to mark progress. Pretty easy. Get our boxes. And we have to envision another waypoint. Honestly, I think I'm just going to use this river as a waypoint. So the river kind of bends. So we finally reached a point to where the river kind of curves, and we're getting pretty close to the iron pillar. Like, we can kind of see it, and Grimbrook is almost like a little bit of a blob in the distance at this point. We've made very good progress. I will say that it is sundown at this point. So the sun is setting. It's painting the orange. It's painting the sky, in orange and red and stuff as it's setting over the hills. So nightfall is approaching. But we are pretty good. We can see the pillar. Our path is pretty clear. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so I think I'm just going to undertake a journey one more time. And if we get a strong or weak hit, that sounds like a wrap to me. Okay, 7. Okay, so the action die is 3 plus 2 is 5. Have we rolled 5 the last 3 rolls? I feel like we have. Anyways, that's a 5 versus a 7. Oh, shoot. What? A 7 and a... Oh, okay, 7. Oh, shoot. 7 and a 6. Oh, that's a miss. Okay, a miss. I guess that was too easy. On a miss, you are waylaid by a perilous event. Pay the price. Is this the first time we're gonna roll on the price table? I mean, so we could take the easy way out and just like lose supply or something like that, but I kind of want to roll on the pay your price table. Like, I feel like this is a great opportunity. It's my first time playing Ironsworn. I don't see why I shouldn't roll on pay the price table. So just give me 1 second to find where I can find this table. Pay the price. So pay the price. When you suffer the outcome of a move, choose one. Make the most obvious negative outcome happen. Envision 2 negative outcomes, and you can kind of use the oracle to decide between those 2, or you can roll on the table. To me, I don't think there's really any obvious outcome. We were just traveling, so, I mean, it's just as likely that like a bear could pop up versus like a rock fall. And you know what I mean? Like it could be anything. So I think I am gonna just roll on the table and see what happens. So this is a percentile roll. Okay. 84. A surprising development complicates your quests. So that's interesting wording, because we kind of got two things going for us. We have a vow that says we need to protect the people from this destruction, and then we have a journey that's just getting to the Iron Pillar. So it says a complicated development. Oh, a surprising development complicates your quest. So I feel like the word quest kind of means we should connect this to our vow. And it's a surprising development that complicates the quest. So I think a surprising development. So as Albrun is nearing this pillar, he's by the river. He actually starts to notice some dead fish in the river. They're floating downstream. He hadn't seen them before, but now that he's getting a good look, because he had stopped to kind of refill his canteen, and he just sees dead fish, dead salmon, belly up, just kind of dead in the water, floating down the river. And he kind of dumps out that canteen. He's like, that's not good. And he kind of takes a closer look at the water and like kind of feels it. And I would say even as a Skullborn, I feel like as he like kind of gets his hand in the water, he can feel like just like a chaotic energy in the water. And he's like, oh no. And he kind of looks back at Grimbrook that's so far away now, and he's realizing he had seen some people drinking the river water before he had left. And he sees the dead fish and he's like, oh crap. So I think what the surprising development is that he now really does need to make it back to Grimbrook. It's not going to be all peaches and rainbows by the time he gets back. There might be some sick people from the water, and who knows if it's lethal. I mean, it killed the fish. You know what? I feel like that's actually something we should ask the Oracle. Is it lethal to humans? And I would say the odds are actually likely. So 26 or greater, it's lethal to humans. Anything less than that, it's not. 24. Okay, so it's not lethal to humans. Of course, Albrun doesn't know that, but I just wanted to know. Okay, so maybe it's just making them very sick. I don't know. So, but that does kind of complicate things, because our vow is to keep yes, our vow was to keep the people of Grimbrook safe from this cataclysm event or whatever it is happening, and some of them drunk the water that was caused by this pillar, whatever it's going on in this pillar. So that's something to keep in mind, okay? So we are going to go ahead and roll Undertake a Journey again. Well, you know what? Actually, let me take a note of that complication. Okay, so we're going to roll Undertake a Journey again. Personally, I would really like to get those 9 boxes before I roll Reach Your Destination. I don't want to take my chances with only 6 boxes. Okay, so that's a 6 on the action die, plus 2 is 8, versus a 6 and an 8. So that's weak hit. Okay. Weak hit. So we can mark progress, I'm pretty sure. It gives us 9 boxes. See, on a weak hit, you reach your waypoint and mark progress, suffer 1 supply. So I'm going to say when we actually emptied out our water bottle, we lost all of our water because it got contaminated. So we don't have any water, at least not any drinkable water right now. So we're at 3 supply. And the waypoint, I would say we're pretty much on the cuspis of this iron pillar. So it's a very rocky, jagged formation around the pillar that we kind of got to climb up to. But like once we reach the peak of like these jagged rock formations, so I would say like if this is the pillar, there's like a ring of just like rocks that aren't like touching the pillar, but like kind of rising up. We get to the peak and we actually see that around the pillar, it's like strangely symmetrically flat down the rocks. Like it's like really weird. You know, you would even think that an architect made that or something. It's kind of weird. It's not natural at all. That is our waypoint, and I think I'm actually just gonna go ahead and try to reach your destination really quick. See what happens, because depending on this roll, that might tell us what the state of this pillar is in. So we don't roll our action die, right? Yeah. So we're just rolling our challenge die. Momentum is ignored. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, yes, that's an 8 and a 1 versus our 9 boxes. So that was a strong hit on reach your destination. The situation in your destination favors you. Choose one. Make another move now. Not a progress rule. Add 1 or take plus momentum. Okay, so I kind of want to take that add 1. We've reached the journey, and actually, I'm actually going to say that that's also a milestone. I feel, is that a milestone? Is that a milestone for our vow? Our vow is to protect the people from this pillar. You know what? No, I don't think it's a milestone. Just getting here is not doing anything to protect the people. That's not a milestone. Okay. I want to say we gather information. We're here. I want to see what's going on. I want to see what's going up. Is this pillar, is there like, is there anything visible going on with this pillar? Any good information we can get, and we can use that +1 from reach your destination to try to, get something good. So we're going to actually go ahead and gather information, I think. Just right off the bat, we've reached our destination. So I just want to see what it is we're looking at, what it is we're working with. Okay, gather information. Okay, so we're rolling plus wits. Ooh, okay, that's a 2 on the action die, +2 is 4. Ooh, versus 7 and a 2. Okay, that's a weak hit on gather information. The information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. Envision what you discover and take +1 momentum. So we're already on max momentum. So we gotta envision whatever the heck we just discovered. It complicates our quest or introduces a new danger. So I think I want to ask the Oracle, to be honest. I think I want to do action and theme. Action and theme. That's your tried and true bread and butter. Okay. Action and theme. Oh crap. Okay, that's a 19. Threaten. Okay, threaten. Threaten what? 77. Threaten problem. It's not very helpful. Doesn't really inspire me at all. 87. Threaten strength. Okay, so some new information that we gather. What information can we gather that threatens strength? Okay, we know that this pillar, I would say that, actually, I know I said that there was like a symmetrical valley around the pillar. I would say that's actually the water from the river. So it's running past the... Okay, so yes. Okay, the water from the river is running past this pillar. It's touching the pillar, right? Okay, so we kind of get down from those rock formations and we very slowly, carefully make our way closer to the pillar. And I think we're actually just going to kind of walk up to it a little carefully and put our hand on the pillar. And when we do that, so we said that there's like intricate runes on these pillar. when we put our hand on the pillar, the runes nearby, not the whole thing, but the runes nearby our hand, kind of like glow, purplish a little bit where our hand is, and we suddenly feel just a wave of like just something that just hits us in the spirit, and we just feel our strength get sapped out, and it's almost like our vitality, our strength is like going from like our core through our like right arm, Albrun's right arm, and into the pillar. He can like physically feel his strength leaving him and going like flowing into the pillar. And so he like snatches his hand back. He's like trying to catch his breath because it was just like just a brick wall hit him with just weariness and tiredness, and it wasn't good. And he looks at the river, and he sees it like kind of like going, like it's touching the pillar as it's like flowing out, and he realizes that that's probably what killed the fish, is that whatever is going on with this pillar, it's somehow sapping vitality out of the living things that it comes in contact with, and the water is actually spreading it. Okay, that's interesting. So, and I would even go as far to say that this is probably an indication with those runes. He notices that those runes, um, he notices that those runes, glowed or whatever. So there's probably something mystical in nature going. But I think that's actually a good spot to stop for session 2. I think that leaves a little bit more investigation to happen for session 3, and I think our first move in session 3 is going to be trying to figure out, is there any way we can do anything about this? So I think that's the problem for session 3, and that's a good stopping point. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, whatever. If you have any tips for me, I'd love to hear them. I'm having a lot of fun. So catch you next time. Catch you for session 3. Okay.